Go. And welcome back to Jeff Koinange Live here at Citizen Television. It's getting hot here on the bench with Murang'a Women Rep Sabina Chege and Uasin Gishu Women Rep Gladys Boss. That's right, Neil, I said boss. All right, boss. Ladies, I'm going to get you quick views on BBI and then we'll just round things off. I don't want to keep you too late now. But what is your biggest concern with BBI? What's your biggest problem, if that's what it is?
I think we have already raised many of the challenges that we had complained about, but some of them were corrected, like attacking the independence of the judiciary, the Electoral Commission, the fact that a lot of things that had been put in the report did not necessarily require a referendum for it to be passed. We could have just made some policy changes, and some of them just required basic legislation. But currently, we shouldn't even be talking about BBI anymore, because now we have a constitutional amendment bill that is currently before the county assemblies, and those are what we should be looking at. And now that they have brought that, one of the biggest concerns is that we wanted people to be able to vote on individual items of the constitutional amendment bill, as opposed to having a blanket yes or no vote on it. That is one of the things we've raised as a challenge. Hopefully, I think tomorrow it's coming for second. I think the referendum laws are going to be before the House tomorrow. So I think we'll get an opportunity to be able to debate that at the House. Okay.
Wash, your thoughts on this? Is it going to sail through? I mean, already Siaya County, right?
Yes.
And was it Homa Bay? Or was it one other?
Yeah. But okay, what you're forgetting is that actually the county assembly members have been bribed with a 2 million shilling car grant. When there were discussions that were held at Sagana State Lodge, they were promised that they will be given a car grant, so as an enticement for them to pass the BBI. So that is bribery at its best.
Okay,
being championed by the head of state. I mean, what country are we in?
Go on.
It's unfortunate when you say the county assembly members were bribed, because not all, they were not the 47 counties that were at Sagana. Secondly, we, the members of parliament, might be hypocrites. We receive car grants. And that is the position even currently. She got her own car grant. Was she bribed to take any position? The issue about the car grants was discussed from 2014. Remember, we have a new constitution. And when the constitution came, the county assemblies were meant to be a mirror of what is happening at the national level. But there are several things that were not put in place because this was a new constitution. There were things that were missing. The
timing is very suspect.
It's okay. You can be suspicious, which is allowed. It's okay. But the thing is, we did not have a fund ourselves as women reps. We fought over it. By the time we were getting the GAF fund that we currently have, which is 7 million per year per constituency, it was almost at the tail of 2016. And that's why majority of the women reps were not re-elected back, because we were sitting in the same assembly, doing the same duties with MPs, but we didn't have a kitty to go back and do things on the ground. So with the county assembly members, they deserve to have that car grant. We ourselves as members of parliament we receive more money than them. They have been negotiating. There was an agreement of 1.5, 2 million, and the agreement had not been reached. And you even saw the SRC wrote yesterday and gave the instructions to the counties.
So you say it's not a bribe?
The issue, and why I believe and I pray and I hope that majority of the assemblies will pass BBI, it's because the MCAs have been going through the same path that we as women rep went through, that unless you are in good terms with the governor, and if the governor believes that your area never voted for him, he will deny you any development. And so what has the current proposal, and I hope Shirley can be the first one to support BBI, because her own county, in the proposal, they'll get extra 6 billion. They are getting extra constituencies. What does that mean? In those extra constituencies, every constituency receives 140 million. And that means they are getting extra 280 million in Uasin Gishu County. Number two, every MCA will at least have a minimum, depending on the amount of revenue they are being given and the number of the wards that they have, because it's 5% of the revenue given. They are going to have a minimum of 20 million let me tell you, it's a better position than the position we have now as women reps. And Sholei will tell you that. Yeah. I would rather lose my 7 million because I get 7 million in my constituency and I struggle with it to try and give bursaries and give the women, the persons with disability. But in one of my, for example, where I'm born, Kigumo constituency, we have 5 wards. That means Kigumo will get 100 million extra. If I do the total number of 35 wards times 20, that is 700 million extra that will go to the people. Would I be so selfish because my position as a women rep, I'll lose it? And then I decide, let me now fight what is coming to the ground. Number 2, if you look at these amendments that they are proposed, initially, we have our colleagues like someone like Wanjiku Wakibe, who was taken to court because part of the laws that were there before, if you are an MCA, you are meant to resign 6 months before. And these are some of the things that the MCAs are looking at, not because of the car grant. And so now MCAs, you don't have to resign for you to vie if you want to vie as a member of parliament. We have many of them. We have Arogoro. We have many of them who actually were nominated. Others were elected members of county assemblies that vied. And now they were taken to court. And there's a case that is ongoing.
Right,
so they are good things.
Yeah.
As she said, there was a BBI process that had many things. Now we have divided what is coming to the assembly, what we're going to debate in the house. And I wish that we discuss and debate, with facts. And let's tell our people the truth.
All right, boss,
on what is happening. Yes. On the ground, what is going to be given, but don't just come and say MCAs were bribed and you yourself know you enjoy the same grant.
Okay, let's, I think first of all, it's very good to put things in perspective and be factual about the things that we say. Remember that you do not need BBI to increase the allocation to the counties because currently the law says a minimum of 15%.
I'll tell you why we need it.
Any maximum limit to it at all, which means it is capable of being increased. In fact, today, the Deputy President, as chairperson of the Intergovernmental Budget and Economic Council, IBEC, today chaired a meeting where there was an increase of 50 billion to counties. Did we need BBI for that to happen? No. It is simple. It can be decided at a committee level, which is provided for under the Constitution. So it is not, we must not mislead Kenyans and tell them that the only way that the increment can be done is if there is BBI. That is a lie, and it is not factual at all. Then, also, when we look at the Ward Development Fund, actually, 50% of the counties, Wasingishu County included, have already implemented the Ward Development Fund. Did you know that? So in fact, if you go by what is in the Constitutional Amendment Bill and what is in the BBI report, actually the Ward Development Funds in Wasingishu will be less under the proposed BBI as opposed to what they're getting at the moment. So let's not keep on telling...
okay, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But hold on. Yes. We don't want to go round and round in circles on this issue. Let me ask you real quick. 2/3 agenda. And you were both fighting for this in the last parliament.
Yes.
It was a complete failure, wasn't it? Why? And why does BBI propose to now sort the 2/3 agenda rule?
You see, the thing about it is you do not need... Already we have mechanisms for implementing the 2/3 gender rule in the current constitution.
But you weren't able to do it.
The constitution provides clearly that if Parliament fails to pass the law, then one can go to the High Court, which is what happened. And once one goes to the High Court, then the Chief Justice, upon that order being declared by the High Court, the Chief Justice will then advise the President to dissolve Parliament. So actually we have a mechanism. It's just that the President has declined to follow the Constitution and proclaim Parliament dissolved. Then that way we'll have said we'll have exhausted all the mechanisms. Because it does not matter even if you put it in the current Constitutional Amendment Bill. Because even if you put it and the people don't obey the Constitution like they are not obeying it now, it's a zero-sum game. So what makes you think that the very people who did not obey the Constitution in the first place are going to obey this new Constitution? What will be different about it?
What makes me think that it's going to be different? One, as she said, Parliament, we failed. The High Court pronounced itself, and of course the Chief Justice wrote it has not happened, so we must put in the Constitution to make sure that women don't lose.
It is already in the Constitution.
Women don't lose because we as leaders didn't pass what we were meant to do. And this, Jeff, it's only for National Assembly, because for the Senate, they had almost gotten there. Why she's asking why do we need BBI? We need BBI to secure some of these things in the Constitution. Because yes, as you say, the Deputy President today was saying we can add 50 billion. But look at what happened when we were doing the revenue share at the Senate. We waited. There were 10 sessions where they could not agree, and the president had to increase the amount so that they can agree to pass the revenue share. What was happening? People on the ground were suffering, and some senators were just they were being massaged their egos. And what the Constitution wants to do now is to make sure that the money, the benefits that are supposed to go to the counties are in the Constitution. We will not wait for the Senate to go and debate about revenue share. Jeff, we had some, and I have facts here I can read for you. Some of the constituencies, the population that they have, they are even smaller than some wards in Moya constituency. I can read for you.
Don't read.
And so what was happening then? So people, there have been no equality. People have not been getting equal share. And so what this BBI or the Constitution want to do in the amendment is to make sure that there is no single area that will benefit, per capita, more than 3 times than any other area. We have some areas in this country where CDF, the bursaries, children can be given 50, 70,000. In my county, we give 3,000, 5,000 because it's not even enough. Where you're getting one ward is bigger than a constituency that is enjoying 100 million, that is enjoying equalization fund, that is enjoying so many other benefits, and others are being left out. So why I would support 100% BBI is to make sure that these things are in the Constitution, so we'll not have to massage anybody's ego to ask whether women are supposed to be in parliament or not.
Okay.
The political parties, as they give their list, and this is why I'm happy, they will give their list that will be, their list will be accepted if they have the 2/3. And they have to figure out how that will work out. That is what is in the BBI.
I want to ask Sabina.
And secondly,
go on.
Let me finish. Secondly, when we are vying, and she will tell you, if you want the women who vied for the positions of MPs and they were being told, wewe enda kwa kiti ya wamama. Kuna kiti ya wamama, hii ingine wachia wazee. Right now, we want to tell Kenyans, vitu zote ni za wazee na wamama. Both here. She's a very strong woman. She can be a governor who was in Gishu. She can be a very strong MP. With not 7 million that she has to struggle to divide how she should give her people, but with 140 million or even billions to control in her county. We want to ask more women to come out. We don't want nominations.
All right, can you also be governor? Can you also be governor?
Of course. I have what it takes.
All right, boss, you had a quick question.
Yes, I wanted to ask her because you keep on referring to saying that it's not in the Constitution. Are you telling me that the 2/3 gender principle is not entrenched in the current Constitution?
The way it was formatted, we ourselves could not implement it. We failed Kenyans.
This is true.
Tell me how you're achieving it now in
how we are going
amendment.
to achieve it in the Constitution Amendment. It's because by the time the political parties give their list, the list must have that gender.
It's already done. Already the Constitution provides for that.
It was not.
You're supposed to give a zebra list at the moment, so it's already provided for.
What was there before?
Wording that you're saying is in the Constitutional Amendment that is superior to the current Constitution.
Because the current Constitution, they said we are going to come up with laws on how to achieve a third, and that's what we are trying to do in Parliament.
Okay, ladies.
We tried with Dwale Bill. We tried. She even came up with an amendment. She was at some point saying we don't even need this position of women reps. So at this point, we are not saying Parliament shall come up with a law. We already know what will happen. Political parties will give a political party list. And the beauty of it again, even if there are going to be nominations, they are not going to be people to be picked from the streets, as we have seen before. You must have vied as a woman in that political party so that you can be nominated. It's no longer going to be dished to friends and relatives.
All right, let's switch gears again, ladies, otherwise we'll be dancing around in circles. Boss, I asked you a moment ago, what was your biggest issue with BBI? Let me ask you this. What's your biggest issue with the handshake? Was it a mistake, according to you think?
You see, the handshake, when it started, we didn't really object to it at the beginning because it was intended to tame Raila. Remember, he was on the streets. He had caused mayhem with the economy because of the riots that he was having every Monday, the chaos that we were seeing in the country. So at that time, it was intended to tame him so that he can get off the streets. Remember, he had even sworn himself in as president. So those were the challenges that were there at that time. So it was made to get Raila Odinga off the streets and to allow for some peace in the country so that we can be able to, the economy could begin to pick up after the elections. Then, where I disagreed with now the handshake is when handshake became a basis for a constitutional amendment. The handshake was actually a project of 2 persons, and then converted into a popular initiative and telling people that now this is constitutional amendment bill that has been pushed, has been done through a popular initiative. It was not a popular initiative. It was done by 2 people on the steps of a Harambee House. And so that is where I began to disagree with the BBI process. Because if you want to have a popular initiative through a constitutional amendment, through a popular initiative, then you should do what Ekuru Okot did with the Punguza Mzigo bill. He was not given any resources of the government to go around the country popularizing his bill. He had to go use the civil society, use people on the ground to be able to mobilize the 1 million signatures. In this case with the BBI, we are actually using state resources and public officers, the chiefs, the county commanders, commissioners, and so on, to be able to collect signatures, and the chiefs. That is where we have a problem with the BBI.
Just, you're laughing and shaking your head at the same time.
You know, I think you should not kill the messenger if the message is good. And she says, yes, it was a decision of 2 people. We know why it's the 2 people. Because this nation was divided into 2. We all know we were in this country. You might say it was to tame his ego, but for sure he has followers. And he almost had half of this nation. That's why he had the guts to go and swear himself in. You know, there was no peace in this nation. And it was even hard for anybody to do business anywhere in this country. And we were divided, almost at the middle as a nation. I've heard, and you have heard, His Excellency has spoken in public on who else was involved in the handshake. I don't need to name names. So I think the only thing that we saw that's at the steps of the Harambee House was the shaking of hands, but the decision behind it. And even on the way forward, even on the BBI, the people who are nominated to carry the process. I personally went and participated. I went to my county. When they came to ask and they came to explain, when they came to Nairobi, I did the presentation on behalf of women. We went and did our presentation. And some of the things that we were pushing on, that those are the fruits that we have now. So we can't just say it was about 2 people. And the Kenyans are the ones who spoke, and they asked actually, the questions were, why do we have to fight every time there's an election?
Because a person refuses to accept defeat.
Well,
exactly.
That's the challenge.
And so why do they refuse maybe to accept? And the Kenyans gave their views. I think that booklet, if you look at the first draft, the second one, there's so much in it. What these people have done is that they refused to read, they refused the process, you know, without even knowing what was the content. They didn't even want to participate. That's when they started, Bluebird, Beba, who, you know, they started naming it. And when the whole process when the whole process,
probably better than anyone in this country.
That's
I've
okay.
read it a million
All I'm
times.
saying is this: a lot of people,
it.
Sholei, I know you read. A lot of people who are criticizing the BBI today have actually not even read, because they refused the process from the beginning. They were suspicious of the process, and so and the whole suspicion, even now, even when I go to the ground, there was a narrative that this was a process to propel somebody to a specific, you know, position, which is not the truth. In that BBI is not about individuals. At the end of the day, Kenyans will vote for the person they want to lead them.
Okay, fine. You have your points of view. Let's move on real quick. And you said earlier on, no party has succeeded in a successive election since 2002. No single party. What does that say about us? And that's where we're heading right now. And it's a dangerous, dangerous course we're heading. Do you agree?
I think, you know, if you look at the development of multi-party politics in Kenya, where we are today is better than where we were when we were. Remember, we were a single-party state, then we went to a multi-party democracy, then we went even to a multi-party dictatorship at some point.
So you're saying we're better than 30 years ago?
Yes, and I think it's part of the growth pattern. We will reach a point where we'll have more political maturity and we will entrench political parties. But I think this is part of the development
so you're saying
of
it's
the
healthy?
country. It's healthy.
Do you agree?
It's healthy.
I will not agree 100%.
But you say we're on course.
We are headed somewhere, but we need to drop, you know, personal interest, because what happens with the political parties is that I'll use it for my personal interest. Once I get to where I wanted, you know, when I cross the bridge to the other side, then I forget about that party and I start pursuing other interests.
Selfish interest, ladies.
Yes, we need now to look at the interest of the nation.
Yeah.
And not selfish and personal interest.
Kenya first. What's it? Country first, everything else second. Is that what they say? Can we look at feedback? Alex Owiti says, presidency must be respected and so is the individuals. Criticism must be done in a respectful and mature manner. The recent events have been demeaning and must attract some consequences. Disrespect for the head of state. I mean, that's for the office. Let's say the office.
No, nobody has been disrespectful. We have not agreed with him. That is not disrespect. I don't have the same view as Sabina, but I respect her. It doesn't mean that I disrespect her when I disagree with her.
We agree to disagree. Omondi Brian says, as the chair of Parliamentary Health Committee, Sabina Chege's role in ensuring that health workers are treated fairly by SRC Kenya, now that MCAs have been given car grants worth 2 million, yet health workers are still on strike due to 15,000 risk allowance.
Yes,
and she also needs to tell us about the COVID billionaires. The COVID money that was stolen. She's chair of that committee. She should tell us what she's been doing about it.
If you come to Parliament, there's a report already tabled 3 months ago, so you can read it by yourself.
15K health workers.
And the 15K, we already started having the sitting with the SRC. But the biggest disadvantage, I chair the National Assembly Committee, which will look at the national level. So I'll deal with the Kenyatta national issues and the referrals. But when it comes to the counties, they are governors and there's a Senate, which is, again, each and every county treats their health workers differently. And that's why part of the proposal, actually in the amendment, is to have a health service commission so that we can have uniformity and health workers can be treated with decency and they can be treated equally, because currently it depends with which governor and what he feels, which is quite unfair.
And
for
you
the
know
health
now
workers.
why it's suspect?
Go on.
Because the biggest crisis in Kenya today is the COVID pandemic. Yes?
Yeah.
And the biggest crisis we should be looking at is our health sector. So why is it that we are in a rush to award MCAs with a car grant when we haven't looked at our health workers?
We have.
That's what I'm telling you, the timing is suspect. It's because the BBI report or Constitutional Amendment Bill is before the county assemblies and they are trying to get the county assembly members to vote in favor of the bill.
I don't think that's the position, Jeff, because if you look at my committee sittings and what we have done, we have really achieved a lot. You remember there was a strike that was ongoing. We had a lengthy discussion. We sat with the minister, with the SRC, and the biggest challenge that I've said, and I would wish that Shole will support us when it comes to the Health Service Commission. That's where we need to harmonize so that we can have equality and we can have our health workers treated equally, because each and every county, because health is devolved, they treat their health workers differently. And that's why you saw some of the counties went on strike, others were not on strike. So it's quite challenging.
All right, ladies, I agree. It's quite challenging. Mutinda Mike says the political intolerance happening in the country must be tamed as soon as possible. Leaders should respect each other despite their political affiliation. Nice debate today by the two women reps.
County MPs.
Political intolerance, though, this is the scariest thing, ladies. The scariest thing. Moreidi Muturi says politicians are like toxic couples. Today they are together, tomorrow they are not. It all depends on the mood and what is in for them. Kenyan politics lacks principle and no one stands for anything. It's just euphoria. Whoa. And self-interest. Wow. Tell us how you really feel, Muturi. Felista Keruba says the dangerous precedent of personalizing political parties has led to factions within parties where party personal interests come before that of the people. Yet these parties enjoy taxpayers' money. It's absurd. Yeah, true. One more. Bor Collins says Jubilee is long dead. The funeral rites were performed a long time ago. We thought Jubilee would stand the test of time and would be a game changer in our Kenyan politics. Little did we know it was any of the many political parties without any ideology. Wow.
That's harsh.
If you remember, the reason why Jubilee and TNA and URP came together is because they wanted to form a truly national party, a party that was not along tribal lines or ethnic lines.
Which you failed.
And so that was actually the dream of Jubilee. Some of us joined Jubilee because we were happy that there was a party that was a truly national party. But we've been disappointed, and you shouldn't blame people when they leave a party. It's because you stay in a party because of what you believe the party stands for. Unfortunately, people are getting exceedingly disappointed with Jubilee.
Do you regret what's happened in Jubilee?
I regret, and that's why I said, unfortunately, if you feel like you don't agree with what's happening in Jubilee, if you feel there's dictatorship, the best thing is to go. And it's very sad. But unfortunately, again, when it comes to we as leaders, we are busy inciting people out there, saying there's dictatorship, and when you're told to move, or you're told, do you want to move now, then you start rushing to court and saying you're being treated unfairly. And you are the same person who went to incite people against that political party. If you believe in Jubilee, Let's shelve all our interests. Let's come together and build the party for Kenyans, not for ourselves.
All right, ladies, I want some final thoughts. Boss, you first.
Yes,
Going forward as a nation, what do you tell people out there?
I think we must desist from this ethnicity that has seemed to have cropped up into the country. I think it's the responsibility of all leaders to ensure that that doesn't happen. And but going forward, I think Kenyans, I've seen Kenyans are really are very politically mature. I've seen that Kenyans are clear what they want. The Kenyans can no longer be dictated, and that is why when you look at what happened in Musambweni, the people of Musambweni decided we will not be forced to take take a certain candidate. They will vote for the person they want, and that's why they voted in an independent candidate. So you can see that people are clear. The voters are reached a level of maturity where they will not just vote someone because of a party. That is what happened. People always said that the Coast region was an ODM zone. Look what happened in Musambweni, and you can see that is people are beginning to take. Make their own decisions in terms of voting. So I believe that in 2022, you will see that Kenyans will vote the people they want to vote, not somebody that is going to be pushed by anyone or propelled by another person. It is not the decision of political leaders to decide who will be the next leader for Kenya. Kenyans will make that decision.
Well, you get the last word.
I just want to say that we all belong to this country. If it burns, we'll all burn in it. So let's not some of us feel like we are too important or our agenda is more important than the others. And so that's why I said if it burns, if we fight, if Kenya burns, we'll all burn in it. That's a fact.
But I don't think Kenyans are talking about
I think
fighting.
I allowed you to speak. You can allow me to give my views. So if Kenya burns, we'll all burn in it. This is a very important country. And so we should put our individual interests aside and look at what we want for this nation. We have a whole generation to come. Our young people are looking at us, and especially us who are in the leadership. And it is sad how we are conducting ourselves. I think we need to call ourselves. We need to sit and reason. I want to call upon the churches, because I've seen the churches the politics have also gone even into the churches. Whether it means that we should not be speaking in those churches when we go, if you have gone to worship, you go worship and leave. Whether it means even the people who are the preachers, I've seen they have also taken sides. If you don't know about something, don't go talk negative about it, because I've seen it. People misinforming the congregation. And so I plead, and I hope it's my prayer, that Kenyans will go through the BBI, that they will look at the benefits that are there in it. And my prayer is that when the BBI passes through the county assembly, I'm hoping all the county 47 of them will pass BBI. When it comes to the National Assembly, I'm hoping the members of parliament, like Uasin Gishu, who are the biggest beneficiary, also will support it. And we'll go to the people. I plead and pray that the Kenyans will pass the BBI so that we can go to the next level. We cannot be able to correct everything at a go. No document is 100%. And Shole, boss is a lawyer and she knows. And we don't have really a document that's 100%. But if this document will make us move from one step to the next one, why not? As we have said, democracy in America is 200 years. We are just 50-something years. And I'm sure one day we'll get there. But let's not get personal. Let us not hate each other because we don't believe or we don't have similar ideas. I believe that we can disagree, but with a lot of respect.
Yeah,
I think, Jeff, just one point. I think Sabina has mentioned that politics is creeping into our churches. But you must remember, who can you credit for our current constitution? Or who can you credit for multi-party democracy? It was actually spearheaded by the National Council of Churches of Kenya. It was the Ufangamano initiative, which bore the current constitution, was actually spearheaded by the church. So believe me, the church has been extremely political in Kenya and can be credited for some of the democratic space that we have.
I would credit them because then they whatever they criticized and the process was factual.
All right,
and so that's why I said, even if you don't agree with it, please read so that you don't speak out of ignorance.
You know what I like about you ladies is at least you're civil. You're civil. You know? Hope we can be.
We were brought up well.
Clearly.
No, it's nothing about being politics. It's how you were raised by your parents.
Unlike some other people. No names mentioned. Thank you. Boss, good to see you. All the very best.
Thank you.
Mesh, thank you so much for your time. Let's do this again. Let's keep talking. I always say this, and I say this again and again. The moment we stop talking, it's the moment we start fighting. Right? You don't want to go down that slippery slope.
Yes.
Thanks so much for your time. But don't forget, Jeff Koinange Live is powered by Johnny Walker. That's right, JW. Johnny Walker exhibiting his eminence in electrifying quality, celebrating 200 years of blended Scotch excellence. Sorry. Keep tweeting. Thanks so much for being a part of the show. Wednesday means JKL. Those three letters on the keyboard that follow each other. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodbye, good luck, and God bless this nation of ours. Good night, everybody. Thank you, ladies. Good luck.
JKLive.